I was 10 years old when I met Michael Vines. My mom was the type that had a different man around the house growing up, and Michael Vines was filling that role. He was really nice to me, and I thought he was my best friend. Michael started giving me drugs, crack cocaine, and it definitely numbed things. He did tell me it was candy. That's when the sexual abuse started. My mom let Michael take me to the beach. It was only supposed to be a weekend trip, and turned out to be longer than that. The kidnapping was 7 days. We stayed in different hotels, and I remember probably 15 seconds that I actually wanted my mom at one point. We were in the train station, and I remember I was standing on the left-hand side of Michael. He was holding my hand. I looked over my shoulder to the right, and I saw what looked like men in black, and they were all in their suits, and that's when they walked up on us and pushed Michael to the side. And I got pushed to the ground too, and that's when Candace came along. Candace is definitely my hero. I do struggle every day with the childhood memories. I'm actually doing this for other people, to keep other kids from experiencing the pain that I've been experiencing for the past 25 years.
Thank you so much for being here. I know this is not an easy thing to think about or talk about, but it stays with you all the time, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about what happened and how it happened, because this is a cautionary tale. Let's talk about the lead up to this thing. The predator in your situation was a Michael Vines, correct?
Yeah.
How did he come into your world? How did he come into your life?
My mom worked for him, taking care of his elderly dad.
Okay.
In-home care.
So she was a caregiver for his father.
Yeah.
And he was how old at the time?
Who, Michael Vines?
Yeah.
I think he was 46.
And how old were you when you started going over there with your mom?
10.
10? Okay. And he started kind of befriending you, spending time with you, becoming a friend, right?
Yeah.
How did that go? What did he do to build a relationship with you?
He would ask what games I liked and what I liked to do. Pretty much gave me and just showed me a bunch of cool stuff that kids wanted.
Yeah. So he got into your world, like, tell me what you like, tell me what you're interested in, and then he engaged you at that level. He met you where you were.
Yeah.
Which is, that's compelling to a child, right?
Yeah.
And did you have a lot of friends at the time?
No.
And when he engaged you in that way, what did you think? What was your first thoughts? If you can kind of go back in time, I know it's hard to think about that now, but what'd you react to? How'd you feel about it?
I thought it was normal because I've never experienced that. So the attention.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had a pretty crappy childhood, so somebody wanting to give me things would be cool, I thought.
It was a contrast to what you'd been through, right?
Yeah.
And how did it feel to get that attention heaped on you by an adult male? I mean, here's a male figure, he's paying you attention, he's giving you things, he's interested in what you're interested in. How did that feel to you, given the childhood that you had been through?
It was nice. It was definitely something I wasn't used to.
Did you look forward to going over?
Yeah.
He was talking to your mother during this time as well, and letting her know that he was spending time with you, kind of looking after you, befriending you, which was a relief to her, right?
Yeah.
What did she say about it?
I still think about it. I don't know any parent that would allow it. Having somebody with no kids, but allow your kid to go over somewhere and stay the night.
He asked your mom to let you spend more and more time with him, right?
Yeah.
And what did you do? At first, it was just you going over there and he'd spend a little time with you, but then you started spending more time and going away with him from the house, or certainly away from your mother's watchful eye. How much time were you spending with him? Where were you going?
Basically just to his house. And it was often that I remember.
Yeah. And how far away was that from his father's house?
Oh, the father lived with him. It was in his place, but I know his dad died, but I was still going over there even after my mom wasn't working for him.
There was a day that he asked your mother about you taking a trip with him.
Yeah, to the beach.
Yeah, talk about that. What happened?
We went to Lincoln City, Oregon, and I remember we had a couple kites because he asked me if I liked flying kites, and so I had two kites hanging out at the beach. Thanks. It was the same thing that was going on forever. It was.
And he asked your mother if you could go to the beach.
Yeah.
What'd she say?
Yeah. Bring him back by Sunday.
I'm sorry?
Bring me back by Sunday. It was a Friday.
So it was
like
a weekend trip
It was a
to
weekend
the beach.
thing, yeah.
So she was letting you go off with this grown man to the beach. What did she think the accommodations were going to be?
I don't know.
Did she ask?
I don't remember. I don't remember her asking anything.
Uh-huh. Okay, and you were supposed to go from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
And what happened on Sunday?
He called and asked if he can keep me longer.
Uh-huh.
She said no, he needs to be home now. And that's when it started.
What happened?
I remember we were in a limousine, and it was hotel to hotel that I remember.
Did you know that he asked your mother if you could stay longer?
Not at the time, no.
Okay. Did you expect to go home on Sunday?
I don't even remember what I expected. I
Uh-huh.
think I was pretty high
Yeah, so he had you really zoned out then.
all the time.
And were you at the beach Friday to Sunday?
Yeah.
You're flying kites and all that sort of stuff?
Yep.
Okay, and then you get in this limousine and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I couldn't tell you the towns we went to, but it was drove from hotel to hotel, and then by the time we were found, that I remember we were in California.
Okay, so you start in Oregon and you start down the coastline.
Yeah.
And when you would stop at a hotel for the night, what would you do during the day? What would be going on during the day? Did you go to the beach again and all
No.
that, or were you just in the hotel the whole time?
In the hotel.
Okay, and was he molesting you during all of this time? Was he giving you more drugs? Did he get harsh with you? How did he treat you during this time when you were on the run?
Like a sex slave.
Okay.
Yeah, I was high all the time.
And did you ever start to resist?
No, I remember probably one time it felt like 15 seconds that I wanted my mom, but then I was right back to being a zombie again.
Was there a point at which he started videotaping you
It was happening regularly, yeah.
from early on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, once he felt he had control of what was going on. I don't know. I remember.
How did you feel about that?
Not good now. I mean,
At the time.
At the time, I guess it was normal.
Again, you had nothing to compare it to. At this point, you're really high when the camera comes out, right?
I was high all the time.
Yeah.
From the minute I woke up.
When you would get home, did your mother ever notice that you were high?
I don't think so. I don't think she even knew what to look for. I think about it all the time.
But you had to be different than what you were when you weren't high on crack cocaine. Did she ever ask you, are you okay? Do you seem like you're not yourself?
Not that I remember.
Was she attentive? Did she ever sit down and talk to you and look you in the eyes? And
No. No. Didn't have that life.
so what would you do when you were home?
I don't remember much of that. I remember most of the bad stuff.
So that's just kind of a blur.
Yeah. I remember everything bad that's happened. I don't remember much of what my home life was like before that.
It's just the bad stuff sticks out, overshadows everything else. Do you feel like you were robbed of the childhood?
Yep.
What does that mean to you now when you look back and
It sucks.
what would you say to that 10-year-old boy now if you had the chance to talk to him?
Say something.
What do you mean?
Anything to make it stop.
Well, if there's a 10-year-old boy out there right now that might be getting groomed or close to this situation or in this situation right now, what would you say to his mother? Because I promise you there is, and I promise you she's listening right now. What do you say to her?
Pay attention to how he acts.
In 1996, I was the head profiler in the San Francisco division of the FBI. A convicted child molester had taken an 11-year-old boy, and they were going to be at the train station in Oakland. When we got to the train station, I heard shouting, FBI, guns were out. I ran up to my squad mates, who were about 7 or 8 men trying to take down this offender. And then I saw this little tiny arm in the middle of all of it. And I reached in and pulled out the little boy. He was scared, he was trembling, he was crying. I put my arms around him. He told me his name was Tony, and I told him, you're safe now. One of the things he said was, Michael takes care of me. He gives me candy and soda. I glanced in the duffel bag and I noticed some VHS tapes. And he said, I don't want to talk about it. I'm embarrassed. Michael makes me do things. And then he tapes it. I also noticed the crack pipe. And he said, Michael makes me smoke crack several times a day. For the past 10 days, Tony had been living on soda, crack cocaine, and oatmeal cookies. When I took him to the hospital, he had lost 10 pounds in 10 days. I flew him home to his family, and after we got off the plane, he said, there they are. I had my arm around him, he broke away from me and he started to run. And then he stopped and he turned around, he said, I almost forgot. Thanks for saving me, Agent Candy. And that was really the greatest moment of my bureau career. I'm sorry. I haven't seen Tony in 20 years. Seeing him is going to be wonderful. The emotion I feel talking about this case only grows. It doesn't diminish. It was a life-changing moment for both of us.
Well, we're out of time for today, but there is so much more to talk about. Tomorrow, Candace and Tony talk, plus we'll meet a young woman who at age 13 was kidnapped and chained up by a sadistic predator she met online.
Groomed and abducted at 10 years old.
He told you if you share this with anybody,
That it killed my mom.
Brainwashed, drugged, and tortured.
And he was putting drugs in my food.
how did he treat you?
Like a sex slave.
You feel like you were robbed of the childhood?
Yep.
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.